The name of the game is PanzerVor, which basically means all tanks advance. The menu screen has two major buttons, Tutorial and Start Mission. When Start Mission is pressed, 3 levels will be shown, all with different difficulties, which will be called missions. At the top is a menu strip with a file to exit and a how to play with 3 different options. Tutorial is one of the options, already given on one of the buttons as well, a description about the game, and tips which could be helpful in the gameplay but are not necessary, which is why they were omitted from the tutorial and placed here. How to play. The player is given tasks by an imaginary commander via dialogue in the game. The player is required to carry out these tasks to succeed in the mission. The player can control their icon, their character with WASD, climb into and out of a vehicle pressing F, as well as grabbing or dropping buffs or items. Firing is done with spacebar. The rules. There are 2 waves to every mission. The first one consists of infantry, the second consists of a boss. The player can lose 2 ways: by losing all of their health, or by letting the boss reach the other side of the screen. The player may win by defeating the first wave and defeating the boss of the second wave. The rules and tips of the how to play section of the menu strip, where it said tips on the main menu, these are basically what it says. Going forward, so holding down D can allow the player to phase or dodge bullets, quote unquote dodge bullets, by going through them. However, this cannot be done in any other direction, so it can't be done up or down, and it can't be done sideways, only to the right. Then there's also close combat, so if the player manages to get close enough to the enemy, close combat is enabled and the enemy will be taken down. And then infantry stops at a certain distance away from the enemy because the infantry is not trying to get to the other side. That is the job for the boss. The first mission is against Britain. This is by far the easiest mission of the 3. Throughout all the missions, there will be dialogue from the imaginary commander, which guides the player and tells them what to do. The first wave of this mission consists of 3 infantrymen, all which can be taken out with 2 shots from the player. The second wave will consist of 1 Churchill tank, which acts as the boss. The player will be given a buff in the form of an anti-tank gun to deal with the boss on the second wave. Mission 2, defending against the United States. Again, like the other one, there will be dialogue from the commander to instruct the player on what to do. The first wave is basically the same as the previous mission, with visual differences. The second wave, however, the boss has changed into 3 Shermans. And the player is given a buff in the form of a Panzerfaust this time to deal with the Shermans. The last mission is defending against Russia. Again, like the other ones, there will be dialogue from the commander to instruct the player what to do. The first wave this time consists of double the amount of infantrymen, so 6 infantrymen, all with the same amount of health as last time. The second wave will consist of a boss and 6 more infantrymen. The player in this one will be given a Panther tank as a buff, which they will be able to use against the T-34. The buffs throughout the game are an anti-tank gun, which was given in the first mission against the Brits, used against the Churchill. The second buff was in the form of Panzerfaust, which was used against the United States Shermans. And the last one, the third one, was a Panther, used against the Russians and their T-34. Enemies and players. All details in the characters are thought out. The uniforms worn by these pixel warriors are replicated from multiple images found of real-life soldiers from the World War II era. Everything from the Brodie helmet the British infantry wore to the PPSH that the Russians carried. The enemy tanks. Some of the most famous tanks of the war were included in this game. This is to make the tanks as recognizable even in their pixelated form, to increase the overall experience of the player. From top to bottom, from the images of the left here, the tanks' designated names are Churchill, Panther, Sherman, and T-34. No exact model names were given, like T-34-100 or Panther A, due to the limited detail on the pixelated versions of the tanks.